Well, good morning, Rise fam, and welcome to day 6 of our journey through the Holy Week, looking at the last earthly week of Jesus' life. Today is Good Friday, and I know that Good Friday is one of those interesting names because you look at all the events that happen on this Friday and you go, like, why would we say that's good? In fact, last night, even one of my kids was saying, why do we call it Good Friday? And the truth is that we don't call it good because of any of the things that happen. We call it good because of what Jesus accomplished on Friday and then is celebrated on Sunday with the resurrection. But this morning, I want to kind of go over 2 different ways of viewing the gospel and then also share a passage from John 19 and then give you guys a little bit of study material for yourself. So in the Christian faith, oftentimes we have a me-centered gospel. And there's 2 ways you can kind of take this. One way of the me-centered gospel is like the point of Christianity is all for my benefit. Every single story in the Bible is about me. It's all about the benefits that Christ gives me and what I can do. And it becomes all about me, 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 me. And that's a problem because we're not the main character of the Bible, right? Like Jesus is the main character of the Bible. And the Bible is not a self-help manual. Sure, there are a lot of good principles in there that will live to a more fulfilling life. Absolutely. But it's so much more than self-help. This is like eternal rescue that takes place. So some people camp out in the me-centered gospel that way. Others become abundantly aware of their sin and their shortcomings, and they almost become obsessed on trying to earn their salvation. And so it's like, well, if I just do this, or if I just read my Bible, or if I just go to church, or if I just do these good deeds, or if I just get rid of this habit or hiccup or addiction, and if I just, do whatever it is, fill in the blank, we try to earn our way towards Jesus. And the reality is that we can't. We cannot do that. And it's just something that our own efforts will never be able to achieve. And so what I want to do is try to remove this idea of a me-centered gospel on both ends of the spectrum, for the person that thinks it's all for their benefit, which, there are great benefits, and the person that thinks it's all their fault, which, in some ways it is your fault. But when we become hyper-focused on ourselves in the gospel story, we miss the greatest truth, and that is the truth about Jesus. That he is victorious over absolutely everything, and everything works together to glorify him. Like he is the main character of the Bible. So in the book of John, we look in the 19th chapter. This is right as Jesus is hanging on the cross. And in verse 30, it says this: "When Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, 'It is finished.' And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit." And when Jesus says that it is finished, it means it is finished. It means that anything that we could ever need, or anything that ever could be accomplished on our end or on God's end, was already done in that moment. Everything was finished as far as the saving work of Jesus Christ. And sure, there's a lot of events that led up to that. In fact, the whole Bible leads up to it. But if you just look at the day, Friday, that we're talking about right now, it all leads up to that moment. But in the very end, when he does that, he just says, it is finished. He didn't have to do anything else. And as believers, sometimes we can get so caught up in the next thing we need from God. And Jesus has already given us more than we could ever deserve. So I was at King's Dominion with some friends and my family earlier this week, it's spring break for the kids. And we were there and we went on, a couple different rides. At the end of the evening, got them dinner in the park, which was like $8 gajillion to feed our family in the amusement park. But after dinner, one of my kids was like, "Well, Daddy, can we just get," I think it was like a cookie is what they wanted. "Can we just get a cookie right now?" And I was like, "Well, I appreciate you asking, but no, we've already spent a good amount of money right now, and we have plenty of stuff at home." And all of a sudden, the facial expression just changed on this child. And I'm kind of scratching my head going like, Why is this kid upset right now? Like, we just took them on a bunch of fun things. The ride they wanted to ride, they got to do more than once. Took a vacation day to be able to do this. Like, I'm going through all of these things that have already happened. And just because the cookie wasn't delivered, all of a sudden it ruined the moment. And, we had a conversation, corrected it, and they're doing great now. But as I was kind of thinking on that, I'm going, man, how guilty are we of the exact same thing? We're like, well, God, if you would just do this, God, if you would just answer this prayer, God, if you would just step in this way. And in reality, we're going, man, he already gave us the gift of salvation. Like, he's already done everything he could ever do for us. If Jesus did nothing else in our life, he has already done more than enough. And what he has done is sufficient for our eternal destination. So my challenge for you today is to get wrapped up in all that Jesus did on Friday. So if you take some time today, break out your Bibles, go to the book of Matthew, the 26th and the 27th chapter. It'll cover a little bit of Wednesday and Thursday, but it'll cover a huge chunk of Friday. And I just want you to go through that, and I would say carve out 20 minutes maybe. 20 minutes and just go through that story and just let your spirit meditate and rest on all of the things that Christ has already done, knowing that it ends with, it is finished. And we know today that on Sunday, he conquered the grave, he rose from the grave. But today I want you to focus on everything that he accomplished on that Friday. Get wrapped up in the story. It will bless you. Let today be Good Friday, where we focus on the goodness of everything Jesus has done for us.